and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited. We have a very special guest today. I told you guys a few weeks ago that I was working on something, and I always keep my promises. So we have a very special guest. I talk about this person all the time on my channel. You guys already know. Sometimes you guys drag me in the comments, but I don't care. I have my faves, and I'm sticking to my faves, and that's just how it is. So without further ado, I want to welcome my special guest today. We have the one and only Robyn Dixon. Hey, Robyn.
Hey Alex, what's up?
Hey. Well, first off, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. Like, I had to get for my first interview on YouTube, I had to get one of my faves, and you were literally hands down one of my
Oh,
faves of all time.
thank you. I appreciate you, Alex. I love, like, first of all, no matter anyone's favorite or standpoint, I appreciate everyone who enjoys the show,
Yeah,
period. So whether you love me or hate me, or are indifferent or whatever, I still appreciate everyone for watching the show, for loving the show, for supporting the show.
yeah.
6 years ago, we were like the little engine that could, and it's really cool to see the response. I actually, couldn't even have imagined the response that we're getting this
Yeah.
season. And so I mean, I just appreciate everyone. Like, it's all good if you don't like me. It's fine. I think I'm doing my job. So
Yes, you're definitely doing your job. Actually, I think it's crazy because Potomac is like the little gem that some people still don't know about. But I feel like this season, everyone's starting to actually pay attention, and the ratings seem to be very good.
yeah,
And on top of that, you were one of the OGs. You started on season one. It's been 6 seasons. I think there's four OGs. So like,
yes,
there's
more
you,
of us.
Gizelle, Karen, and Ashley. Yeah. So I think that's amazing because a
Yeah.
lot of times you don't get that. You'll get one or two who stay on for a while, but you guys have been holding it down.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool. Like, I think, for there to be four OGs that have been on for 6 seasons, like, I think we're the only ones that have done that.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I guess
It
it's
is. It's
Housewives history. You can write us in the history books.
it,
So, um,
it is pretty cool. I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie.
it's pretty cool.
So speaking of that, how has your experience been so far? I mean, it's been 6 crazy seasons. Every season's been pretty different. I know last season was kind of hectic, and now we're going to this season, which seems a little bit more lighthearted and fun. Still shady as always, but a little bit more on the brighter side than last season. So how has it been for you from starting from season one and now you're on season six? What has that experience been like?
Yeah, every season has been different. It's pretty much been a journey and an eye opener for me. I'll be honest, I did not watch a lot of Housewives or even reality TV or TV period. Like, I don't watch a ton of TV, and so when I was presented with the opportunity to be on the show, I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, you only live once. Not really knowing what I got myself into. But at that time, like, it wasn't a housewife show. It was just, hey, Bravo wants to film a show about, six women, or you're not six, but or like just, a group of women
Yeah.
in the DC, Maryland area. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, why not? You only live once. I kind of feel like if they said to me, particularly, like, oh, we're going to film the Real Housewives of whatever, I probably would have been like, yeah, no, that's not. And somehow I'm still here 6 seasons later.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah,
really ironic, actually.
it is.
So okay, so you've been on since season one, and one thing that's crazy is usually when we have housewives who they start very early on, they stay on for a bunch of seasons. Some of them eventually change. They're not the same person they were in season one. You'll see them in like season 7 or 8, and they're a completely different person. But for you, it's not the case. Like the
Right.
Robyn from season one, episode one, is the Robyn that we just saw on this last episode. So
Yeah.
how have you been able to ensure like you stay yourself throughout this whole journey? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's actually been like one of the most important things for me. I love it when I talk to like my friends that have known me since childhood or high school or college, and they say to me, Robyn, I just love that I watch the show, and I'm like, that's my girl, and it's important to me that like they like that I am myself. I can't pretend to be someone that I'm not. I
right,
can't pretend to live a life that I don't have. I can't pretend to be so much more important than I am. Like, I just don't know how to do that. And so
right,
when I joined the show, I just said, you know what, I'm going to come on here. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to pretend that I'm like, big and grand and so important. I just want to like be myself. And
Right.
that has worked for me, and it's kind of like, I think it was almost like I was in a good spot because I was able to come in with being me and having, my financial troubles and letting that um, be my story
Right.
versus having to come in and be this big personality with this
Right.
big
Right.
lifestyle that I have to keep up
Right.
that actually might not have existed. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
kind of cool. Like I was able to come in as myself. I told them when I was being casted for the show, I said, look, I'm not living this big grand life. Like, yeah, I lived a great life before. Like, money
Yeah.
was, we Juan played in the NBA for 7 years. He played
Right.
overseas for 2. So like, I know what it's like to live a nice big life, but I also know what it's like not to.
Right.
Um, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to break my back and go broke trying
Right.
to like be important and pretend to be someone I'm not. So the fact that like the network um embraced that and they appreciated that, like it just let me know like, okay, just be yourself, girl, because I can't pretend to be someone I'm not. I just
Right.
so
Yeah, I mean, we need more Robins. I think that what makes Housewives great is they get a group of girls or women who are all different from each other. We can't have like 6 or 7 Ashley Darby's, 6 Candiaces, or 6 Gizelles. You can't have that. You need a balance, and I think that you bring that balance to the cast. Like you are kind of like in the center. Like you bring everyone together. That's just how I feel, and I think a lot
yeah.
of people agree with me too.
Yeah,
Um,
and and I agree. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like on our show in general, like none of us are exactly alike, and
right,
that's what makes our show pretty cool. I mean, even from the point of like our age differences, like
right,
we had when we started, like Ashley was in her 20s, and then we
right.
had, um, season 1, it was like Charisse and Karen were in their 50s, and so we went
Yeah,
20s. I was in my 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and
yeah, right,
so when you even have that, it creates a dynamic cast. And so,
yeah,
it's funny. It's like, of course I'll see people like, oh, she's boring, or she's not living the life, or she's not this. And I'm like, well, that's okay. I don't have to appeal to you particularly.
exactly.
I do know that I appeal to a large segment of people who live a very normal life and who
Right,
see themselves in me, and they appreciate my honesty, and I'm not pretending, and I'm not trying to like, put people down for not being,
yeah,
uber rich. So it's I think it's cool because we all can appeal to someone. So whether
right.
you like the big, fake phony people, or or you like people who are actually like living true, authentic lives and they're not trying to pretend to be someone that they're not. Like there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I was drawn to you from the beginning. I just feel like I don't know when I see you on TV and I watch other Housewives franchises. They're always some of them are very over the top. They like to flaunt their money, but I feel like with you, you just seem like a normal person. Like we can watch you and feel like, yeah, I can relate to things that she's saying or things that she's doing. Well, for like with other people, it's not like that. It's like I just bought like a $90,000 Birkin or whatever, and a lot
Yeah.
of us can't relate to that. So I think with you, you're very unique in the way that we can just you feel very grounded and we can just relate to you on that level because most of
Yeah.
us are just normal people when we watch the
Yeah.
show, right?
And like housewife shows are like it's like they're either aspirational, which
Yes.
you're looking at these lives and you're like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
she's dressed to the nine, she's got the cars, the houses, like all that. Or it's someone that's actually like relatable, that's going through some like real life shit that you can like
Right.
relate to. And I think when you have like a mix of that, that's perfect. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I watch Beverly Hills and it's like 100%
Yep.
aspirational, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but when people expect that's the beautiful things about every different franchise. Like just because one is aspirational, that doesn't mean all of them have to be the same. And so I think
Right.
that's what makes us unique, particularly, and then me. That's what makes me unique
Right.
in the housewives world.
I have to ask you though, going back to the fact that you've been yourself from day one, do you actually read like social media comments? Because I feel like I don't know. In my mind, I feel like you don't because I feel like if you did, you might maybe perceive yourself differently and try to change
Right.
for the fans. I just feel like you are someone who doesn't actually do that.
Yeah, I don't really I mean sometimes they're hard to avoid, you know, if people are coming like to my page and saying
Yeah,
stuff. It kind of sucks because the negative people take away from me being able to embrace and enjoy and appreciate the positive people because
right.
I'm the type like I'll be honest, I don't can I curse here?
Yes, you definitely curse. I curse
Okay,
all the time.
no. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. Like, I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't like what I said or what I did on the show, I don't care. I'm not going to change my, like I'm not going to change my persona for someone who doesn't like me. I don't care.
Right.
That might sound is that harsh? I don't know. Like,
That's
should
not
I?
harsh. I mean,
Okay.
I'm the same way. I mean, I'm not gonna change just because people don't like me. You have to embrace who I am. If you can't do it, then I'm just not the person for you. I feel like
Yeah.
that's how everyone should be, but there are definitely housewives who just are not like that. They have to try to change who they are just because they want to appeal to the fans. But you're just not like that. So we don't even gotta talk about them because that's not you.
I mean, but I
Um,
do want to say honestly, I have so much support. Like I have so many fans and so much support, and I just think the negativity is just so much louder. And
yeah,
it's really up to like what you choose to focus on.
right.
I choose not to focus on the toxicity. Like honestly, I don't follow hashtag RHOP. I don't
Yeah,
follow hashtag Robyn Dixon. I don't follow certain blogs, and because like it's just weird. It's like it's just so weird sometimes. It's like okay, they post stuff and then like all the comments are like horrible, and I'm like I don't need
yes,
that. Like I don't care. I don't like just because you don't like what I said. I don't care. Guess what?
yeah,
Um, you're talking about it, which means I did my job. You know,
exactly,
and I'm not
exactly.
saying that like oh I'm you know doing stuff on TV. I'm doing stuff on the show to like because I'm on TV. Like honestly, if you take the cameras away in a lot of these situations, they're really not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
It's just the
exactly.
fact that there's cameras there that people get so up in arms and oh my gosh, she said this and then she said that and then she said this and then she said and I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like I have so many girlfriends and so many girlfriend groups that like that's like sometimes the show I'm like that's like a normal dinner for me with my girlfriends.
Yeah,
Like why are people so mad that like I spoke the truth, you know? So
yeah,
I don't want to let the negativity affect who I am on the show because then
right.
it's not authentic anymore. And
Yeah,
it loses its, just I don't know. I think I get so sick of watching some of these shows and all the arguments are based on social media. It's like,
yeah, that's a big
can
thing.
we just eliminate that and can we just pretend like the cameras aren't here and can we just
Right,
interact with one another? Not because we're worried about what the people watching the show will say, but
right.
because you actually want to hear each other out and you want to have conversations and you want to get to the bottom of some feelings and you want to make things better and you want to move forward. Not because you're trying to like make everyone else happy.
Right, right. I mean, I agree with that. And I think that you said this on a Watch What Happens Live. I think the last one you did, where you said, just because the cameras are there doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about things that happen in real life, as far as like rumors or blogs, anything like that. And I definitely agree with that. I feel like this is supposed to be reality TV. It's supposed to be real. You can't just pick and choose what you're going to talk about on camera. If this is your real life, this is happening in real time, you guys should be willing to talk about it. And
Right.
that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, otherwise, like, what are we in front of these cameras for? So
Exactly.
it's not. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's not. It's not easy. It's not comfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's something that you consciously have to like. You almost kind of like before you step in front of the cameras in a group setting, be like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
But because it's something that we kind of, that you agreed to do, you got to know that like everything's on the table. Everything.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
you can't say, "Oh, I'm mad because you talked about something in front of the cameras." It's like, well, why are we doing
Exactly.
like, just
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you on that.
yeah.
Before we jump into everything that's been happening on the show, I do want to ask you about two things. First is Embellish. So you launched that last season, right?
Well, I launched it actually, but we didn't see it until last season. I launched it in 2019.
Okay.
Um, and then, gosh, like I'm telling you, these days and years all blend together.
Blame the pandemic.
Yeah. But yes, yeah, season 5 is like the first time people on the show heard about it, but I had been up and running for a few months before that.
Okay, and you originally started with hats, but you recently expanded to clothing now, right?
Yeah, so I just have like hoodies, like cute little like, graphic hoodies, graphic t-shirts. Nothing like super elaborate. I am
Yeah.
though working on like a custom design athleisure line that hopefully I'll start having like samples for soon.
Okay.
But yeah, like I mean I love like a great hoodie with just like a cute little, phrase
Yeah.
on it or something like and like I mean that's just like people love to buy hoodies and graphic t-shirts and stuff. So I figure like,
Yeah.
okay, I have a website, I might as well add more stuff to it. Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming it's doing well because everything's sold out, and I've been I've been trying for weeks. I swear I was like on there like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm like, this shit's sold out still. And I
I
looked the other
know.
day, it's sold out. So I mean that's amazing though, because we went through a pandemic. Some businesses closed, they couldn't keep up with everything. Materials were way too expensive for some people, but Embellish is still going.
Yes, yes. Embellish is doing great. So like as soon as I'm the biggest challenge that I'm having is inventory management. Like I don't know like how I'm never ordering enough
Yeah,
because once I restock, it's like it's out in like a week.
it's
And
crazy.
then, and it's like that's great, but then I hate the fact that like for the next few weeks I'm sitting and people have nothing to buy. Like and some
Yeah.
people email and be like, are you still in business? And I'm like, yes, it's in business. I'm just, it's a process. But I've also been like the pandemic has also affected manufacturing
Yeah.
and freight and delivery times. And so
Right.
although the pandemic has been good to me because e-commerce has really taken off, people are really shopping online. You can see in like other stores and industries too. It's just like it is hard keeping stuff in stock because
Right.
supplies are limited, materials are limited. Like my hoodies and stuff, it's like I can't even. They don't even have enough in stock for me to order.
Wow.
It's just
Yeah.
it's a challenge, and so with the whole like department stores and stuff reaching out to me, I'm hesitant to like bite off more than I can chew because I don't
Right.
feel like the manufacturing industries are really need to be just yet for me to
Yeah.
actually provide like the best service and product that I can.
Yeah.
But it's been such a blessing. I love, just being an entrepreneur. Um, I love, the support. Like I said, like, yeah, there's a ton of hate online, but the support outweighs it so much.
Yeah.
And I totally appreciate everyone for supporting my business. And it's been really cool just to like, you see people get on these platforms and they're like, you want to um, take advantage of the platform,
Yeah.
but you want to do it in an organic way.
Right.
You don't
Right.
want to just like slap your name on something and be like, oh, this is my product. And it's,
Yes. I mean, that happens all the time. You'll see like a housewife in the second season, they're like, all right, I have this new thing I'm launching, and then nothing happens with it because it's too soon. Like you have to
exactly.
build your fan base, let people know who you are, and then they'll trust your brand once they
Yeah.
trust you. You can't just do it right away like some of these people do.
You
It,
can't.
it just never ends up successful. It
No,
just doesn't
you
work
can't.
out.
And honestly, I felt like Gizelle launched her makeup too soon. And I
Yeah.
just remember it was like, oh, well, people are like, oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to do something that makes sense and that like,
Yeah.
that I can grow with. I'm not just going to all of a sudden be like, well, yeah, I got money problems and I got this big old product. It doesn't make sense.
Right, right. Well, congratulations on Embellish. Again, I'm going to buy it as soon as it comes back in stock. I already have the notification on. I will definitely be
Oh,
purchasing
yay.
and we'll be
Good.
wearing it on this channel. But you also have another venture, which is your podcast with Gizelle, Reasonably Shady, which I listen to every single Monday. I've been telling people they need to listen to it because
Thank
people,
you.
I feel like people who aren't fans of you because of what they see on the show, I feel like on the podcast, like we really get to hear like your real
Yes.
personality, and you literally have me dying laughing all the time. Like I just can't. Like it's such a great podcast. So how has that process been for you? You get to
Yeah.
film with your bestie Giselle. I'm sure that's fun, but like the whole process from start to finish, like how has it been for you?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So it's actually for us, it's so refreshing because we get to just be ourselves. On the show, it's
Yeah.
like we might film a scene, we might be there for 5 hours
Right.
or 3 hours or 4 hours, but all you're going to see is 5 minutes. You're not going to
Right.
see like all of our personalities, all of our interactions, all of our key moments. Like what you're going to see is like the storylines that have to kind
Right.
of be like
Right.
continually told. And so
Right.
podcast is like so awesome because we don't have to talk about anything related to the show, and people can really get to know us and they can get to know our
Yes.
personalities and why we
Yes.
click and how we're like goofy and silly, and we just want to laugh and joke and have fun. We're honestly almost like like two dudes the way that we like laugh jokes. You know what I mean? Like we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
And I think part of the problem with like, the show is that like we don't take ourselves too seriously, but other people take
Yes.
themselves too seriously. And so
Yes.
they can't handle, our little like, shady humor. But
Right.
so it's just good to just step away from that and we can just be ourselves, and have fun and laugh and joke and talk about anything and everything.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's great. I love the podcast. I hope you guys continue to do it forever because that shit is it's so fucking funny. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna. It's so
we have
funny.
we have so much fun, and we have fun. Like I love the feedback when people. It's
Yes.
so funny when people are like, literally, like, I hate y'all on the show, but your podcast has me cracking up. I'm walking, I'm on my Monday morning walk, and I'm cracking up walking down
Oh
the
my
street.
gosh. That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah,
But on the other side of things, you talked about on the show how the pandemic was kind of affecting you, like your mental health. You were sleeping in a lot. You weren't really motivated, and I feel like a lot of fans were kind of overlooking the importance of that because I feel like with the pandemic, a lot of people actually got depressed. Like it was just a huge change for everybody. You lose all aspects of social life. Everything's virtual now, not just like conferences, but for school for the kids. Like you had to help them transition to virtual online learning, which is very hard. My niece went through and she was like failing, and I had to help her. I'm like, girl, what is going on? And she's like, it's too hard. I just can't do it. And I feel like when you were talking about it, people were kind of well on Twitter. I'm a huge Twitter person, so I read all the comments. But people were kind of angry with you because they're like, I don't understand. Like she has such a good life. I don't understand why she's acting like she can't wake up and go to work. Everyone else has to do it. I'm just like, well, everyone processes things differently,
right.
and this is like a big change for everybody. So you're not going to have the same type of reaction. So I want to know, are you better now? How are you feeling? And how, if you are better, how did you get through that little phase that you had? If you're actually over it now.
So Alex, stay off of Twitter, okay?
I know. I can't. I can't. I have to read all. I'm in those Twitter streets offending you and my other faves. So I have to stay there.
No, like
It's toxic, bro.
honestly, like it's Twitter is the devil's playground.
You're right. It is. It really is.
It is. But so it's funny because on the flip side, like I said, I don't really like I don't read Twitter. I don't like go and look on like sites outside of my own page. I
Right.
have received so many messages from people. And I mean I was floored by the amount of messages I got from people saying, Robyn, thank you so much. This is how I've been feeling. I actually haven't been able to verbalize it. You kind of put it into perspective for me. I know that I'm not alone. I see someone on TV who I look up to, and they're expressing the same thing that I'm feeling. Or my husband is saying the same thing that Juan is saying. Just thank you. Like I mean, I can't tell you how many messages like that I've received.
Yeah.
So, while we were filming, it really wasn't a storyline that I was like, actively saying like, oh,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. I actually kind of like just shared that with a producer just in talking like, oh my God, I'm like, how I was feeling. And they were like, well, let's talk about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
why? Like, who wants to hear? Like, I myself was like, who wants to hear that? That's embarrassing. Like, that's not fun. That's nothing interesting. And, when I tell you these producers know what they're doing, they
Yeah.
knew.
Oh, they definitely know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. They knew that this was going to resonate with so many people because, like I said, I was floored by how many people felt the same way. And honestly, how many people are still feeling like that because,
Right.
you spend a whole year almost just in the damn twilight zone,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like, at first it was kind of weird and then it became normal. And
Right.
it's not easy just to like, it's almost like as long as it takes to get into it, it takes that long to get out of it.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I'm a lot better now. I've been actually like energized and re-energized by the support
Good.
that I had from fans, but like um it didn't like go away overnight. It wasn't easy. And it's still like my kids are back in school. So like I'm already like, ooh, it's gonna be a long school year because
Wait,
you
is
know,
it virtual or are they in person now? It
no, in
seems like it.
person.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay. Well, I mean
So
that's
going from being virtual for a year and a half to being in person, like that requires just a lot of discipline. I mean, the
right.
whole virtual thing, it just kind of broke down all like your discipline and your structure.
Right.
And some people are very structured, but other people, they're not. And
Yeah.
so um it's a process, but I definitely have been energized just from the support that I've received from people. So
Well, that's great. I'm
yeah.
happy to hear that. I'm happy that you actually talk about that on the show because, like I said, people have been going through it. I've seen people in my own life, seen them super depressed. Like they want to go back to some sense of normalcy, and it seems like it was not going to happen. Like we're in a pandemic. We're still. I mean, technically, we're still in a pandemic. So it's
Yeah.
like for some countries, they're still on lockdown. So I can only imagine what they're feeling. But like almost 2 years now. So I mean, it's crazy. But I'm happy that you got through it. Good news. Good news. All right, so we're gonna jump into the show because we have a lot of things to cover. So I'm gonna try to get through it as fast as I can. So we are introduced to a new housewife, Mia, right? So she's introduced in the first episode when you guys go to Wendy's house for the nude interlude. I kind of want to know. So when you guys get a new housewife, does production tell you ahead of time, or you really just find out when you go to Wendy's house? Like, how does that work? Or
Um,
are you allowed to say that?
yeah, no, no, no. We pretty much find out when we get there. We don't,
Okay.
they production is very good at keeping a lot of things discreet.
Okay.
And so, and they want our natural reactions. They want to see
Right.
how we're going to react to that person. And even still, like meeting Mia at Wendy's house, like to me, I wasn't like, oh, she's the new housewife. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, hi, hi, Mia. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't really know, and it's just a matter of like how well you respond to that person. And so no, like I love that. It's almost like weird. It's like some people they like want to know so bad, like what's
Yeah.
going on and who's. I'm like I don't want to know. I want it to be natural. I want
Right.
to, I don't want to come in with any like you know just opinions already. Like if I meet a new person, then great. So
Okay. Well, what were your first impressions of Mia? Because she came in like a hurricane. I remember when I was doing my recaps, I'm like, who is this girl? She's coming in hot. Like, she is not like some prissy girl who's just gonna come in there, sit down, and be quiet. She's coming in and she's going to make her presence known. So, what was your first impression of her?
yeah, I mean, my first impression just at that first event, I thought she was interesting. She's very tall, and so she was already like striking, because
Right.
she's so tall and she has a presence. And I was used to like me and Gizelle being the tallest ones. I was like, "Oh, someone taller than me." Um,
Yeah.
and then I just appreciated how open she was with,
Right.
just I guess all her surgeries or whatever she had done to herself. And so I was kind of like curious, like my
Yeah.
interest was piqued. Like, okay, let me find out more about this woman. I did think that she was older than what she was. Um,
Do we ever clear up how old she actually is? I feel like she doesn't even remember.
I guess what was it? I mean, did we come to like 36? Like we didn't like revisit it after like Wendy's
Oh,
house.
okay.
36. I really was thinking that she was a lot older than what she was at that time.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I found her to be interesting just because she was just so like forthcoming with her life. So
Right. And we also get to meet your friend, or they say is your friend. Is it a scholar or a scholar? I always get it wrong.
a Scala.
A
So
scholar.
it's
Okay.
Scala, but it has an E on the end.
Okay, so we get to meet Ascala, and I actually really like her. I feel like she is, first off, she's always dressed amazing. Like she has a great style, and she seems like a really good person, and she speaks up when she needs to. But I
Mhm.
want to know, so was she your actual friend in real life? And the reason I'm asking this is because if you watch Atlanta, we know that Fallen last season was introduced as Portia's friend, and they weren't even actually really friends like that. And then Portia went and got that girl's husband. So I want to make sure, is Ascala your actual friend? Are you comfortable with her being around Juan Dixon?
Look, you don't have to worry about me getting with Ascala's husband or with Ascala getting with Juan, okay? Like, that's not happening. Ascala and
Okay.
I have a mutual friend. So we have a very
Okay.
good mutual friend that we knew each other through. So,
Okay.
I mean, we weren't like super duper close, but we
Right.
definitely had mutual friends and we had a friendly relationship. But yeah, no, we don't have to worry about.
Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure because you never know nowadays, so I just gotta make
No,
sure.
that's true. You never know because I still haven't gotten over all that in Atlanta.
And then okay, so we get a Scala, and going into the season, we know you and Giselle were cool, but go. Who else were you cool with going into the season? Were you pretty much cool with everybody, or did you have issues with Karen or anyone? Like, who were
Yeah.
you close with?
Going into the season, Candiace, Ashley, Wendy. Okay, so Robyn, Gizelle, Candiace, Ashley, Wendy,
Like
and then Karen.
everybody.
I mean, I would Karen and I's relationship was just it was very kind of just coexistent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And okay, so I have to ask you. So I'd say the first 3 episodes, Wendy. Okay, Wendy last season, I really, really loved her. I love that she always talked about her degrees. I have 3 degrees, so anytime someone's on the show and they're talking about their degrees, I'm here for it. Like I like that.
Yes. It's a good
But
compliment.
for some reason, when we went into this season, I don't know what it was. I don't think it was that she got her body done. I don't something with her personality shifted, and I noticed it as a viewer, and I was like, "What's going on here?" Like, I don't know who this girl is. She's giving weird vibes. Did you feel that when you were in her? Because I mean, you're actually filming her, so I'm sure it's even worse. Did
Mhm.
you feel that shift of energy or shift of change of some type of change, like not just her body, but something in her personality? Did you feel that?
Yes, instantly. I did.
Mhm.
And I know on the show like we didn't bring it up until that trip,
Right,
but I felt something was just weird and different from that first nude interlude party. I was just like, something is just off. It's
yeah,
different. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but just something felt different in her personality, and then something also felt different in just my interactions with her. Like it just didn't feel the
right,
same. So
right. I mean, and how did you feel about her newfound friendship with Karen? Because Karen was not here for Wendy at all last season. She was dragging her. Said she was unimpressed, and then it was very weird for me to see them seemingly like so close. Like on this new season, I was very confused, and it seems like they're staying close throughout the season. What did you think about that friendship? Like, was that weird to you? Were you caught off guard? Like, what were your thoughts?
I never want people to be stuck in a contentious place,
Right,
but I also feel like, you kind of got to grow and develop and get to a better relationship.
right,
Um, so it did feel kind of just different, like off and different and out of nowhere.
right,
But I didn't really. I'm not going to like tell someone not to be friends with someone, or why are you friends with her? Like okay, maybe Wendy decided like she just wants a clean slate with everyone. Um,
right.
but in my real life, like I have a hard time just being like,
Yeah,
okay, girl, let's just forget all that and we're just gonna like, march on and be bosom buddies. Like that's just like doesn't really like that doesn't work for me personally.
right,
So I did feel that it was like it wasn't very like organic and natural.
right.
Not to say that it couldn't have happened, but it just was like a little too soon. But I mean, hey, that's if they want to be friends with each other, then
Yeah, I mean, for me as a viewer, I overanalyze everything because that's what I have to do when I do YouTube videos. I literally pick apart each and every episode, and I'm on Twitter and social media, so I'm looking at everything that's going on. And I feel like sometimes with Housewives, there's instead of being friendship, there's alliances, and I feel like some people they strategically place themselves with somebody. I don't know why. Maybe that's just to secure themselves for another season, or they just think it'll be beneficial as far as gaining more fans. And I don't know. I don't know if that's what Wendy's goal was, because there are some things that have happened on the show with her that I feel like are kind of weird. So let me give you an example. So at the new interlude, you and Karen kind of got into like a little kind of altercation, like a little argument, right? And she had said something about you and Juan, and basically implying that your relationship is fake and you're not going to get married ever, right?
Right.
And then later on, I think at the Williamsburg trip, I think Wendy had kind of said something kind of like almost on along the same lines. And to me, it was really weird because I was like, okay, you're kind of reiterating what your friend Karen said. So it's kind of confusing to me because I feel like if you felt that way, why are you even friends with Robyn in the first place? It just
Right.
seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. So I'm kind
Right.
of thinking like sometimes housewives will do things strategically because they think it's going to get them fans. Like I feel like with on Potomac specifically, if you go against Candiace or you go against you or Gizelle, I feel like people think they're automatically going to get fans that way. That's
Right.
just the way I see it. Because if you, like I said, I'm on social media a lot. I see how these things work. People did not like Wendy last season. They really didn't. I was like one of the few people who were defending her. And then now all of a sudden this season, they're like, we love Wendy. Like, she's amazing. I'm just like, that's really odd. I feel like once she went against Gizelle, everyone's like, yeah, we like Wendy now. So
Right.
do you think sometimes housewives will pick up on these things and say, you know what? Maybe I should have these rehearsed reads and I'm gonna go at Gizelle and tell her she ain't got no man or Ramon's relationship is fake. Like, do you think sometimes that happens?
I mean, Alex,
I
you
ain't trying
just
to get you in trouble.
yeah, like you just like yes. All right. Duh.
Well,
So
I have to ask.
yeah, no, you know what? It's funny. In Williamsburg, when Wendy went off the way she did, so I already verbalized my observation that she was being different. Her personality was different,
Right,
something changed. And
right,
honestly, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, she changed for the fans.
right,
That was my opinion.
right.
Okay.
And that's how I felt too.
Yeah. And then, just to be more appealing for whatever reason. I don't,
Yeah,
whatever. Um, but when she was going through, the stuff she was saying in Williamsburg, I was like, wow, she sounds like all the Twitter trolls. Oh, Robyn,
yes,
you don't have a relationship. Oh, Gizelle, you're miserable. Oh, Gizelle, you're this and you're that. And
right,
like, I was like, oh my gosh, she sounds like all of the trolls and all of the
right.
negative things that I've read or seen or heard about ourselves. And I was like, that didn't really sit well with me because I'm like, okay, if we're like friends, like you should be able to kind of discern what's real and what's not
Yeah,
real. Um,
right.
so unfortunately, yes, I agree 100,000% with you, Alex. Like I was really sad to see that because I know that she did have a rough, first season. And I know the
Right,
fans were hard on her, just as they were hard on me, they were hard on Giselle.
right,
But it just became obvious that she read like every single comment, not only about
right.
herself, but about me and about Giselle.
Everybody.
She chose to reposition herself.
Right.
And that's why I say, like, I really wish social media was not an element on these shows because I think they really changed the relationships for the worse,
Yeah.
and people end up saying stuff, in interviews and on social media and tweeting and doing all this stuff. And it's like, you're making everything so much worse. And now
Right.
when we film, we gotta like address shit from social media. Like it's just not
Yeah.
it's not realistic to me. But yeah, you hit the nail what on the I don't know, whatever.
Nail on the coffin or nail on the head or something like that.
Yes, you hit it. Okay.
Okay.
And that was honestly what I was feeling like the whole time. Like something is like it's like it just became it was she's very performative and very
Right.
like the rehearsed reads and
Even
very
with their arguments with Mia, it seemed kind of over the top. Like it just
yes.
did not seem like the Wendy we were used to.
Yeah, and I was like, for me as someone who I was drawn to Wendy in her first season because for the things you said, she was
Yeah.
educated and I felt like she was down to earth and she just came in being herself. And then it was like this
Right.
big switch that just like it was just night and day. And it was somebody that I was like, okay, I wouldn't really kick it with this person,
Right.
like being performative and trying to like I don't know, just talk down to everyone. And
Right.
it was not only that, there was a cold feeling that I personally got from her,
Right.
a very condescending feel, like, tone that I would personally get from her. So it wasn't just what I
Right.
was observing, it was also how I felt in my interactions with her.
Okay. And when you guys were in Williamsburg, you guys were, I think, were out to lunch somewhere, or maybe it might have been dinner. I get the two scenes mixed up. But a lot of fans felt like you were being a little bit too harsh with Wendy when you were saying you feel like, she changed. It's not just her body. Like, and then I think you used the word she's a little bit more loose this season. And I think people had a problem with that. Do you think you were being too harsh on her, or do you feel like you were just being a real friend and just telling the truth?
Okay, so like the word loose was totally like um not the best word, and I didn't mean loose as in like a
Yeah.
slut. It was more like more free,
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
she went from being a more reserved person that I knew to being more like just free and like I hate to say the word, like I think
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to be some sort of like derogatory term.
Okay.
And the hard part is like, okay, we're filming a show here, but like we're not perfect. We sometimes we don't pick the most
Yeah.
appropriate, word to describe what we're trying to say.
Right. Right.
But you hear this one word and you think I'm calling her a slut or a hoe, and I'm like, that wasn't what I was talking about. I was just saying I just felt like her personality was freer.
Yeah.
Um, because we went from seeing her being more reserved to then being like,
The opposite.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, like it just and it's so weird. It's like nowhere along the way was I telling her this was wrong or this was bad or shame on you or
Yeah.
I can't believe you. All we were saying, or I'm just gonna speak for myself, all I was saying was I noticed a difference and a change. It wasn't like, oh my God, you changed, how dare you? Oh my God, you're doing this, how dare you? It was just like, hey, what's up? You're
Right.
different. What's going on? Or, if what we met last year was kind of you, being more shy or like
Right. Right.
that's cool. I wasn't judging her,
Right.
but I think it would be you know, like for us not to point it out when it was so obvious, at least
Right.
for me, because I
Right.
think sometimes when you're closer to the situation, like, we're with each other all the time, all day, for hours at a time. And so
Right.
if you're really friends, which I thought we were, if you're really friends, you should feel okay saying to your friend, hey girl, like, it's
Yeah.
all
Like,
good.
what's going on?
Things are different.
Right.
And like I said, if you take the cameras away, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. But I think at the same dinner, Gizelle also got a lot of heat because people did not like her line of questioning, not just for Wendy, but it seemed like everyone at the table. She had questions about Candiace. She had questions about you. And particularly, they were not happy with some of the things Gizelle said as far as like, you can't have your man thinking you're unattractive or something. I forgot exactly what she said, but something like that. But people were mad and they were saying, Giselle is being a bad friend. Like, why would she like throw Robyn under the bus like that or say those things to her? But I
Right.
think from the viewer's side, again, because I don't look at things like some of these fans. I think they get a little bit too emotional. I look at it things like, okay, I'm talking to one of my best friends or my sister. I'm gonna tell them how it is, right? That's just how I am. But I
Yeah.
feel like fans aren't like that. So did you take that negatively, or you just take it as Giselle just being a good friend?
No, I didn't, not at all. It's so funny because I remember like the next day, and I don't know if they aired this or not. Like I don't remember what's on the show or what's not, but I remember the next day, I think maybe a scholar was like, I mean, like Giselle was asking, she was asking you these tough questions, and I was like, "What are you talking about? What did she say? I don't even know what she said." Because I'm like, whatever she said to me, like I had to wait to watch the show to be like, "Oh, that's what they're talking about."
Right, right.
Like I want to like, what kind of friendships do people
I
have?
I don't know. I don't know. I asked that too, and I tell you, I get dragged all the time. I'm just like, I mean, this is something I would say to my family or my close friend. I'm not gonna say it to probably like a surface level friend, but to a good friend, I'm definitely going to tell them the truth,
Yeah.
especially if I'm invested and I care about their relationship. I'm going to tell them the truth. Like,
Yeah, it was so weird to me. I'm like, I'm so confused right now because if my friends don't keep it real with me, if they're not like, Robyn, like get your shit together, like Robyn, let's
right,
pick it up, let's do something, like then they're not really like my friend, or
right,
I won't say they're not my friend, but it's like I was so confused, and so no, like whatever Gizelle asked of us and me particularly, it like that shit rolled right off my back. Like,
right,
and maybe that's, just the person that I am. I am pretty thick skinned. But I honestly feel like as a friend, that's what you do with
right.
your friends. Like, those are the types of conversations you should have.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then add to that, yeah, we're filming a TV show, but like Gizelle understands the assignment. She understands that
yes, I say that all the time.
we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. And if we don't, we ain't talking about shit. Right.
Right, right,
So it's like, I don't, it's so weird. It's like when people are like mad about certain things, I'm like, okay, well, what did you want to watch? What did you turn the TV on to watch?
right, right. I mean, okay, so going back to what you just said about Giselle understanding the assignment. So I wanted to know, like, with these whole Eddie rumors, is this something Giselle really wanted to bring up on the show, or was that something like production was like, "Hey, we heard about this. We need someone to bring it up because we need a storyline," or was Giselle really just curious and wanted to know what was going on? Because I'm confused by that too, because everyone agreed that they knew the rumor was fake, so it was kind of confusing why Giselle would bring it up then if it was everyone knew it was fake. Like, why did it need to be said?
I mean, honestly, you'll have to ask Giselle
Okay,
because,
okay,
like, I don't, that wasn't something that I was even on the forefront of my mind.
yeah,
I think maybe like this is just me assuming if it was brought up once and production heard it, then they might want to say, oh
yeah.
well, let's see, let's see where this goes or whatever. I don't know. I would be honest, I don't know. Like,
Okay.
those rumors, like when I read them, it's come from the same non-credible blog that has
Right.
made up stuff about all of us,
Right.
except,
Yes, I know.
that were in
Yeah.
cahoots with them. So, like, nothing they said had any validity. But what's really funny? It's like that same blog. Let's flash back to episode 1 where Karen is talking about, oh, you have a STD and
Right.
you
Right.
you are, a drug. What is she? I don't know. She was saying all this crap. You're a drug
Yeah, some
addict. And
crazy
you
shit.
went to a psychiatric hospital. That same blog wrote those same rumors about Gizelle. But we're not up in arms. We're not up in arms about those.
Right, so we're allowed to bring that up, but no one else can bring up anything about someone else.
Yeah,
If it's Giselle, it's okay, but anyone
exactly.
else, it's like, "Nope, can't do that." Okay.
Exactly. And then honestly, if you look at our show, I mean, so when something is made public, whether it's true or not, are we not supposed to talk about it? So like, Michael Darby, are we not supposed to talk about his stuff?
Right.
Are we not supposed to talk about anything Juan related? Are we not supposed to talk about Karen and Ray's tax issues? Like, are we not like it's
Yeah,
just, it sucks. It's a hard freaking job. Like,
it
your
is.
life is in
Yeah.
front of the cameras, and every little aspect is going to be scrutinized, and especially if it's made public, whether it's true or not. Like, it's almost like it's like fair game, and it sucks. I'm not.
Right.
It's not a normal life to live. You know.
Right. I mean, I definitely agree with that. And again, I got a lot of hate for this, but when Wendy was going off on pretty much everybody, she's going off on Giselle, Ashley, and then it turned to you at one point. What I said in
She
my
didn't go
recap
off.
was,
Then this is the fucked up thing. She did not go off on Ashley. She chose
"Oh,
to go
really?"
on Gizelle and Robyn.
Well, so
They
it
shipped
looked like in
Ashley.
the scene that she really was directing some heat at Ashley. You're saying she wasn't?
No, no, she actually in that scene was like, I'm gonna, give you a pass. And like she literally was just,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, it's crazy to me because, like you were saying, like from season one, everyone's relationship was brought to the forefront. Every rumor that's ever gotten brought up has been brought on the show. It's happened to you. We've had rumors with you and Juan allegedly seeing other people. We had rumors with Giselle. Like literally every single person has had rumors come up. So for me, when I was watching, I'm like, well, Wendy, what did you think you signed up for? Did you think that you were invincible for these things to like not happen to you? Like they're going to happen to everybody. They're eventually going to happen to me at some point. Like every single person that comes on the show, this is just what happened. So I feel
Yeah.
like if you weren't comfortable in a setting like that, then you really should not have been on the show. And I got a lot of hate for saying that, but it sounds harsh. But in reality, like some people really don't want their family business out there. They don't want rumors spreading around about them. And I get that. I don't want rumors spreading about my family, but you choose to sign up for a show that's reality TV and you're in the spotlight, people are going to say things. So that's just the way I look at it. People don't see it
Yeah.
that way. They get emotional. They say, no, she shouldn't have brought it up. She should just like kept it private. But again, we're on reality TV. This is supposed to be real life. So we're going to talk about the real things. That's just the way I
Yeah,
see it.
yeah. I mean, and it's like her reaction could have just totally like if she had just been like, "Girl, I'm not thinking about those," that made up rumor, like, and just moved
Right.
on. Then we're talking. Then it's something totally different. So I feel like her reaction made it so much worse than what it really was. It's like she brought like way too much attention to it and gave it too much energy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it sucks. Yes, like it would be nice if we could all just be on TV and just braid each other's hair and like, talk about
And
our
nobody will
business.
watch.
Yeah, yeah, and our candles and like that would be lovely. But it's also like a human experiment. It's like,
Right.
well, let's, throw it out there. Let's talk about what's going on in everyone's life and see how people react. So it's more
Right.
about how we react than the actual content itself.
Right.
It's like so. With Ashley, she reacted. She kind of wasn't really ready for it. When we're like season 4, she was caught off guard, but
Right.
she handled it like okay, I'm gonna deal with this
Right. Right.
versus coming in and shim, 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 you're so horrible and you're miserable and you're awful and you're this and you don't
Right.
shit and you did blah 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 blah. And it's like, oh, like okay, like this is what we're doing. Like I mean, it just
Right. Do you think it would have been different if Giselle would have went to Wendy herself, or do you think that Giselle should have went to Wendy herself?
no, I didn't really understand that argument of like whatever Wendy said, like, if Giselle had come to me, then it would be different. Like, I didn't understand that argument. I was like,
I think she was making the point that she's not really cool with Ashley, so she feels like if Giselle would have came to her, it would have been better. I mean, I don't know. That's just I think that's the way she kind of tried to phrase it in
yeah.
her
But
little
honestly,
confessional
and like
thing.
I said, like I wasn't really, I wasn't
But
in
you didn't even know what was going on, and you had been
on.
taking a bunch of shots of whiskey. You were like done.
I
You
had
were just
no idea what was going on, and so honestly, not until I watched the show did I see how things unfolded. And when I kind of saw, I guess earlier that day, like it seemed like Wendy and Giselle were getting into it, and
right,
Ashley kind of took the wheel. Like to me, that made sense. And if Ashley's coming from the standpoint of I've been there,
right,
my marriage has been talked about, and this is what we talked about. Like I didn't really like. I didn't think um, like Wendy's reaction in that moment, I don't think it would have been any different had Gizelle come to her. Like
okay,
it was just so extreme. And then to
right,
say like, oh, Gizelle, you should have come to me. But like after you've said all this, like, throwing out all these insults and stuff like that, that it was more like she just didn't like that it was talked about, period.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
probably with what I said earlier, it might have been an opportunity for Wendy to reiterate all those drags everyone says online and then make herself an enemy of Giselle because that's going to buy her
Yeah.
fans. Again, I'm not saying that's what she's
Or-
doing. I'm not saying that, but that's kind of what it looked like to me. Like, okay, this opportunity to go against Giselle, I'm gonna gain some fans because everyone hates her. So this is what I'm going to do.
yeah. And who knows, like Wendy may have had her guard up when it came to to Giselle,
Right,
me and
right,
Giselle, like, oh, they're your friends, but just wait because you're gonna be next. I've
right,
actually seen stuff like that. Um, so she probably had her guard up when it came to Giselle or Giselle and I think
right.
maybe that's where some of that energy stemmed from too.
Okay. And can you clear something up for us? Because on the show, they had like a little scene with you and Giselle talking about, well, from what it looked like, you were talking about Wendy and the rumors. This was before any of this happened. You guys were in Williamsburg. You guys were talking about it allegedly. But then I saw online, I don't know if this actually was like a real screenshot, but I think you had commented saying, like, the scene was edited and you actually did not have any conversation with Gizelle about Wendy, and that's why when they were arguing, you were like, "Well, what are you guys talking about? Like, what is the rumor?" So was that true? Like, did you guys actually not talk about that prior to that happening?
Giselle and I never talked about it.
Okay, that's
So
interesting. All right,
yeah.
well, I feel like that vindicates you because everyone's like, "Well, Robyn clearly knows what's going on. Why is she acting stupid? Like, she clearly knows what they were talking about." But
Yeah,
okay,
I
that
mean, for
makes
me,
sense.
like I said, like that rumor was like so far in the back of my mind where I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it was
Yeah,
like I said, like I didn't, it's from the same non credible blog that makes up lies about everyone. And so I wasn't even thinking that that was like something to be up in arms about.
right,
And so, and like I said, we never talked about it. Um,
right,
and so when she's just coming in and, oh, you talked about a blog. I mean, now mind you, everyone in that room said they didn't know. They said no, they don't know what she's talking about. But everyone in that room knew about that rumor. So that just
right,
goes to show you how like far out of our minds it was.
right,
And
right.
like I said on Watch What Happens Live, I was very drunk. And when someone is coming in with that energy to like a drunk person, and you're like almost, I felt like I was being accused of something. That was kind of
Right,
the way she was, you don't really get to see everything, but
right,
the way she came in and was talking to us, I felt like I was being accused of something. So I wanted
right,
to know what I was being accused of.
right,
Um, and even if I knew that Ashley had talked to her about the rumor, well, what about the rumor that nobody freaking believes? Like, what is the
right,
what's happening here? Like, why are we so mad right now?
right. I mean, that makes sense to me. So, where do you, Wendy, stand today? And if you guys are not on good terms, do you guys see yourselves like moving forward in the future? Because I think that you said earlier in the season that you guys really were friends, and even when this rumor came out, I think that you said maybe you may have said this like off the show that you had actually texted her about, it and you guys like already talked, and you cleared it up, and you let her know, hey, these blogs are saying things about you. Like, what do we got to do to
Yeah,
take it down?
apparently Wendy said that in an interview, and people thought that was some like smoking gun against me. And I'm like, yeah, like I remember when I saw the rumor, and I don't know if we talked or texted, and I was like, oh my gosh, like these people don't stop. Like this is horrible. And
Right.
really it was probably me checking on her because I
Yeah. Yeah.
know that she had a difficult time with the whole social media thing and how like you know what I think I remember her calling me and saying, is this normal? Like asking
Mhm.
me, this type of energy and this, negativity, is this normal? And I told her, no, this is not normal.
Right.
There was some other elements going on. Yes, we are always scrutinized, we always have like the negativity, but this level of toxicity is not normal.
Right.
And and it got to the point where it's like, okay, something like this has to be stopped, like something needs to be done. But like that, just because we had that conversation, that doesn't mean I knew what the hell she was talking about
Right.
when she
Right.
walked in that room and I'm not there. I'm not in on that conversation. And I'm like
Right.
not thinking about that. And so,
Right.
I don't know. It's frustrating because it's like every little thing we do on the show is like picked apart and people like, it's almost like I don't like being accused of being a liar or like,
Right.
like and so that type of stuff really is frustrating. It's like, but hey, that's just that's what I signed up for.
Okay. I have to ask you real quick. I don't mean to backtrack, but so on your way to Williamsburg, you guys were on a little bus, and at the end of the bus, I guess Candice said somewhere online. I think she said online that in order to determine who was staying in which house, you guys played like some type of game. Did that really happen, or did production set up who like stays in which house?
Um, no, I don't. I
Because it
mean,
didn't air. If you guys played a game, it didn't air on the show.
yeah, I don't think we played it. I don't.
I think
I
she like
don't think we
tweeted that
played
or
a
something.
game. I feel like Candiace had her people, that she picked for the house. Like I don't think we
Mm,
had to
okay.
play a game for that. I'm trying to remember.
Okay,
Uh,
because it was people thought it was weird because they had me in the house with you guys and not Wendy, and they felt like Wendy would have been in the house.
yeah, you have to ask Candiace. I don't know.
Okay.
I just
All
go
right.
with the
I just thought it was maybe production being shady because if you watch Beverly Hills, they always have like the little seating charts when they have dinner, and they kept putting I don't know if you watch Beverly Hills, but they kept putting sun and air next to each other, and they keep fighting. I'm like, production has to be telling them to put them right next to each other because they know it's about to be explosive. So
Right.
I thought it might be something like that. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
have to
no,
ask Candiace.
I don't yeah, I don't think it was anything that was like I like I said, you gotta ask Candiace. I don't know.
Okay,
I just
okay.
I just go where I'm told.
So this recent episode, actually 2 episodes ago, we had Candiace's music video for Drive Back. The video actually did turn out amazing. I know people were kind of dragging her, and Mama Dot was there. Now, I actually really like Mama Dot. I think she's funny, but I think she was completely out of line for doing the things that she was doing. I'm not going to drag her because I love Candiace. I'm not going to drag her mom on this platform, but she was being a little bit shady, right? But did you think that the questions that Mia was asking her, do you think they were appropriate? Like, do you think that these were genuine questions that we deserve answers to, or do you think that she was just trying to be shady?
I mean, considering that Mia that was her first time meeting Dorothy, that was a little out of line. Now, and in the way in which she was kind of like she should have been a little more discreet.
Right, right,
You know what I mean? But I also think the fact that like that was her first time meeting Miss Dorothy, it was pretty much out of line. Like that was a little too much. Now, I mean, I'll be honest, I wanted to know the answers as well.
I think honestly we all did, but because we're not in the show, it's easier for us to be like, that was wrong. Like you shouldn't have asked those questions. Maybe if
Right.
it was like Wendy asking, I don't think anyone would care because they'd be like, well, Wendy's friends with Candace, it's okay. But maybe I guess because it was Mia, they just felt like, no, you shouldn't do that. But I feel like she shouldn't do
Right.
that. But again, I want to know the answers too.
Yeah. But I
but I,
think
but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't ask if I
yeah,
was Mia.
it's all in the delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like Mia just she didn't know Dorothy from a can of paint, and so
Right.
that wasn't appropriate for her. And then it was also the tone and the way she was doing it. It did feel very shady. Where
Okay.
I mean, I was talking to Dorothy, and I was kind of like, okay, so what's going on here? Like, how you feeling?
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, I think we all wanted to know. Now, what did you think about Wendy going over to Candace at the video shoot and telling her that this is what's happening? Do you think that was wrong? Do you think it was inappropriate or wrong place, wrong time? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just felt like, as soon as the director said that's a wrap, then like, okay, go tell her. But just don't tell her in the middle of the video shoot because we've all seen a very emotional Candace.
Right,
We all
right,
know how she can get. And so for someone like Candace, who, when you're focusing on a video, like you don't want to deal with that outside drama. Like, why bring that to her in that moment? And so I mean, it's funny because like I was trying to explain that to Wendy at our reasonably shady party, and she just totally like, she
right,
acted like we were like, vilifying her, and it's like, no, like, girl, we're just saying, like, just pick a better time. Just wait till
right.
it's over. Like you're dealing with emotional Candace. Like that's not the best time to tell her something like that. And so I
Right,
have no problem
right.
with you telling her. It was just at the time in which she chose to tell her.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely agree with that because it could have ruined Candace's whole mood. She might have had like a huge blow up with Mia before the video. So I mean, I get that. I think she should have
Yeah.
waited till at least after, and then if Candace needs to light me up, she can do that after the video.
Yeah,
Let's get a wrap on the video.
and I give props to Candiace for staying focused. Like she really did
Yeah,
her thing. I'm so impressed. She really is like a full on artist. So I give her
yeah,
props for staying focused and tuning out that outside noise. But what if she didn't? You
yeah.
know,
What if she didn't?
and
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
very possible that she might not have. So
yeah. I think that Wendy's lucky that it wasn't Ashley, the one who was doing what Mia's doing, because I think that Candace definitely would have probably addressed Ashley. But I guess because it was Mia, maybe she gave her a pass. I don't know, but that's
yeah.
what I think. So, all right. So after that, you and Giselle decided to host a little launch party for your Reasonable Shady podcast. I have to ask you though, why did Giselle choose to have this event at her house when she knows that house is under construction? It was dangerous. People could have got hurt there. Like she was doing it in the driveway. We have balloons flying away into the fort. Like what? Whose idea was like why? Why couldn't we host this somewhere else, like at a restaurant or something like?
Okay, so first of all, I think it's kind of cool. Like I think we did a really great job of making people forget that we were filming in COVID, right?
Right.
So
Yep. That's true. That's
yeah.
true.
So in planning our reasonably shady party, we were kind of we're still in COVID. The DC area is very COVID compliant. And so
Right.
finding places to film was hard. We had to film at our houses a lot. We had to film, just in like small little settings. And so
Right.
really trying to pull it together in her freaking parking lot was like one of the best options because of COVID. So that's
Well,
another one.
one of my YouTubers I watch all the time, she had an issue with Gizelle. She felt like Gizelle did not put out enough food. She said the charcuterie spread that Gizelle had was not adequate, and then she was eating it before everyone got there. So, did you guys actually have food there? Were you guys starving when you left? Like, what's going
No,
on?
we did. We had like Giselle and I spent money on that,
Oh, okay.
and we had a catering company. They were passing food the whole time. We had
Okay.
drinks. We had cupcakes. Like we had stuff there. So
Okay.
it wasn't just like the charcuterie board was just like your
Little
I mean,
appetizer.
your appetizer, but we literally had
Okay.
past
Okay.
plated food.
Okay. Just making sure because
Yeah.
we gotta have food. All right. So Wendy and everyone arrives, and Wendy's kind of immediately like she seemed like she's off, and I guess it's because she said that the invitation seemed a little shady because she was like, "Well, who is a hater? Like, like I thought we all made up like who's a hater." And again, I mean, I personally, I agree with why Wendy felt the way because she didn't understand the context. But I think once you realize it's because it's a reasonably shady podcast, now it makes sense. But I feel like even after that explanation, she kind of wasn't. She still wasn't okay with it. She still felt like you guys were trying to be shady, even though that's the whole point, right? It's
Yeah.
reasonably shady. Now, one thing I will say, I'm really happy that you told Gizelle you need to let them use their bathroom if they have to go. Because I was like, Gizelle, there is no way you're about to invite these girls over and you're about to say they can't use the bathroom. Like, she was so out of line. So here we go. We have the reasonable Robyn. That's why we have reasonable Shady because you're the
Right.
reasonable one. Giselle Shady. So I just want to say thank you for doing that because people, I know if you would have just co-signed that, people would be dragging you right now. I already know. I
Oh,
already
yeah.
know.
No, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm not co-signing this. I'm not going down with this. Like, let's figure something else out if that's the case.
Right.
And so, no, they're like that was just not okay. And then as far as like the invitation, like, like Giselle and I like to laugh and have fun, poke fun at ourselves. We can laugh
Right.
at ourselves. It's like, okay, now it's time to like move forward and just laugh. And so it's just like,
Right.
if anyone took offense to like the haters part, it's like they're just incapable of just like, you know,
Having fun. Just laugh.
yeah, just having fun and laughing and whatever. It's like everything doesn't have to be taken so personally and so seriously. And so yeah, she came in with this like stank attitude on top of the fact, and I kind of feel like this got glossed over in the midst of all of the yapping.
Yeah.
Apparently, Candiace told her before the party that like we were talking about her so much at my birthday dinner, and
Right. I think that got brought up.
she interpreted that to mean that we were like shit talking her, which we weren't. We were just talking about like, where everyone stood and
Right.
what was going on. And so I think she came in with that in the back of her mind also,
Right.
which was unfortunate. It's like, in a group of friends, like we were so far past that whole Williamsburg,
Right.
rumor thing. It's like, okay, it's time to just laugh and joke and get back to like normal having fun. And she came in kind of like with a big chip on her shoulder. So
Yeah. I think it's weird though that she would still feel some type of way, even if you guys were talking about her at the dinner, because when I remember the party that Mia hosts, like the goddess party, I feel like that happened after the dinner and you guys all made up at that party. So why would you even still be mad about something that happened before you guys already made up? Like
yeah,
that
it didn't make sense to me. And then, I'm trying to explain to her, like, no, it wasn't like that. And she's just like being so like, combative or didn't really want to hear what I was saying. And it was like, dude, it's like you're making this worse than what it is. It's not really that deep. It really
right.
wasn't. So I don't
Right.
know. Like I just think some people overanalyze things. And I think, because of whatever she's gotten in her head about us, that she just expects the worst out of us. So
Right.
we're just like walking around every scene that like shit talking her. And I'm like, it's not like that. Like, we're
Right.
really not.
So okay, but I have to ask, you don't think Giselle was being a little bit shady to her at the party? Because so okay, for me as a viewer, me and Wendy have not been on good terms this season. I just like I said, I just been feeling really weird about her. But I feel like at this specific episode, I feel like when she got to the party, Giselle was being shady, and she might have just been just trying to have fun and just making light of the situation. But I guess maybe to Wendy, she just felt like it was like shade after shade after shade. Maybe that's why she reacted the way she reacted, and she started arguing with Giselle and all that. And then at one point, you and her have an exchange of words, and you were telling her that she's being a bit too hostile. She's talking over people, but the way it was edited, it made it seem like Wendy was just like talking normal, like I'm talking, and then it just seemed like you were like, "Why are you being so hostile? Like, why are you talking over people?" But I guess from the viewer side, it didn't look like that's what was really happening. So did we miss something? Like, was she saying some crazy shit that we actually didn't get to see? Like, what was actually really happening?
Okay, so
Because it's really weird the way it was shown. Because it was like, you're being an asshole, you're being hostile, you're talking over people. But from what I saw, I didn't see her doing that.
yeah, it was. So you have multiple questions. So I think Giselle picked up on Wendy's like how
Okay,
standoffish she
yeah,
was, because she, if you see how the party started, everyone, hey, hi, welcome, give a hug, come on in, and instantly it was like she didn't want a drink, she didn't, like she didn't want
right,
to,
right.
like, you don't want a glass of
You
wine.
just feel you just feel the vibe.
Yeah, so it's like I think Giselle picked up on that, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. Now, when it comes to like the exchange between Wendy and I, like she wouldn't let me talk when I was trying to explain to her. It actually happened multiple times when I was trying to
Oh,
explain to
okay.
her, why her, going to Candiace in that moment was not the best time. It was just
Right, right,
it was met with a lot of, cutting me off, not wanting to hear, just talking back, all that stuff. And then the whole like I'm trying to explain to her, no, like we weren't talking about you. It
right,
wasn't like
right,
that. And it just was like, she wouldn't let me talk. And I honestly get very, very frustrated when people don't let me talk. Like when I get cut
right.
off, because I'm not a talker. Like when I have something to say, I want to get it out and I want to be done.
Yeah,
I
that's how I am too. I get
Yeah.
it.
So it's like I don't really like to have to fight with people to get my point out. And I had to fight with her to get my point out when
Right,
it was
okay.
like she was being so difficult. Like she didn't want to hear it. Like I hated that she felt like we were being horrible for talking about her when we weren't.
Right.
And I was simply trying to deliver that message, and she was just so like just wouldn't let me talk. And
Okay.
everything happens so fast in the episodes, but in the actual scenes, it's a lot
Yeah,
more,
it's a lot more.
that goes into it. So I think they kind of
Okay.
just, cut and paste the sound bites. Um,
Look, I want to ask you too. So this first off, this episode was great. I think everyone's been saying it's like one of the best episodes of all time. I've been seeing that a lot. So I mean, I agree. This episode, it was first off, it was shady, it was arguments, but it was also super hilarious the way the editors were making Karen hallucinate and everything they were doing. So I think it was a great episode. But we get to Candiace and Mia, and this has brought up like a lot of conversation on social media. So Candiace and Mia get into it when Candiace addresses Mia about what she was doing at the video shoot. And Mia says, well, the video shoot was low budget. And then Candiace, her clapback is, well, your mom's low budget. Now, she's been getting a lot of hate online from a lot of bloggers, people on Twitter, everywhere, because they feel like her comment was below the belt. Now, I want to know your opinion because you and Giselle sat down with Mia and she told you things about her and her mom, but I feel like Candiace wasn't privy to that. So I want to know what did you think? Did you think it was that bad as people were trying to make it seem, or was it just like a yo mama joke like I used to do when I was a kid? Like, is
yeah,
that how you perceived
so
it?
yeah, so I said this in the Bravo after show. I said I think it was just a yo mama joke gone bad.
Right.
It's like it was almost like it was like one of those like perfect setups. Like, oh, it was low budget. Your mama, low budget. Like, you know what I mean? It was an immediate your mama retort, and I
Right.
don't think Candiace really knew a whole lot about Mia's mother, and
Right.
so I wasn't like so offended by it because I was just like, okay,
Right.
this is like first of all, Candiace knows how to fight with her words. Like she knows how
Yes.
to how to throw those
Yeah.
daggers and how to dig and how to get right back at you. But in that instance, I don't think that she knew that Mia's mother had those struggles because Mia hadn't
Right.
really shared that with everyone, and we weren't going around telling everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
It was just like an instant "Yo, mama" retort, and um, because it's Candiace, people are just gonna like, oh my god, she needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's been all season, even with the whole they accuse her of body shaming everybody with I think with Ashley and Mia, and even then I'm like I don't. I mean, I guess I can get it kind of, but it's also like we've done it on the show a lot of times. I
Yeah,
don't
and
like going.
the thing with like the whole Ashley and the wide body thing, like we all Ashley wasn't wide. It was like, if I'm Candiace and I know that Ashley is probably, she's not um her normal, her
Size,
community
right? Yeah.
size. Like I know that that's probably a sensitivity, and I want to, dig at her. Like that's just like an instant like
Right.
dagger. But we all know Ashley wasn't like wide. It wasn't okay. Like, but Candiace knows like where to hit and make it hurt. It just I don't know. I
Yeah.
was a little too sensitive.
I think so too. Okay, so I have one more question before I just jump into a few fan questions because I know people had a lot of things to ask you, and I did filter out the shady ones, so don't worry, it's not gonna be too crazy. But last question before we get to that is so Nicki Minaj on Instagram, she said that she really wants to host a reunion. Like she's all the way here for Potomac. Actually, I think I knew that she was a Potomac fan, but I didn't know she was like that big of a fan. So would you actually be here for her at least doing like a segment or even just replacing Andy if it ever came to that? Would you be here for that?
Yeah, so Nikki definitely. I know she watched the show since like season one,
Yeah.
because like I remember her following me in season one, and I'm like, oh, Nicki Minaj is following me. So she's definitely been on the Potomac, Potomac. I don't call it bandwagon, but she's been down with us since the beginning. And
That's
I
really
think it would
cool.
actually be it would be fun. It would be something so different for the franchise to have her host or like, I can't imagine her hosting like the
The
entire
entire
reunion.
thing,
I
yeah.
can imagine her hosting like a little segment or something and
Right.
I'm like, Nikki, like, I just want her to read me. Just read me. Just give me like, tell me everything you gotta say.
So let's jump into a few fan questions and I'll let you go. I know it's been a long interview. So the first question was someone asked, what do you say to viewers who feel like you insert yourself and jump in front of conflict for Gizelle? They feel like you do that a lot, and you pretty much catch a lot of like slack for that. People don't like when they feel like you're jumping in to protect Giselle. In my opinion, I'm answer this before you answer. In my opinion, I feel like when you have a close relationship with someone, like if someone's arguing with my sister, I'm probably gonna jump in because that's family and that's just the way I am. I'm very loyal. So I feel like that might be what it is, but people just don't like you sticking up for Giselle. They want you just throw her under the bus, and apparently,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like we're friends, and it's weird. It's like, do they miss the parts when I stick up for other people? You know what I mean? It's like
they do. They miss it.
I only get criticized when I stick up for for Giselle. But if I stick up for anyone else, you miss that. Like I'm the type of person that I like to I like to look at like confrontations from all angles.
Right. Right.
So if I can offer a different view or a different point of view, then I'm gonna do it. Like, what the hell? You want me to just sit there the whole time and just be quiet? And then honestly, it's so weird. It's like that like first episode when Karen is literally calling her, and I think maybe
A
all
bunch of
this
different
was
things.
I think it was edited out. She called her a drug addict. She called her mentally ill. She called her an alcoholic. And I said, first of all, like that's dangerous. You're over here insulting her with things that are very serious diseases and illnesses that people
Right.
struggle with. Like that's not cute. You know what
Right.
I mean? And so it's like it's not even about me sticking up for Gizelle. It's about me talking to the other person and saying like
Yeah.
check
It's not
yourself.
cool.
Like,
Right.
what are you saying? Like, or how about you look at it a different way? And if I stick up for someone else, like it's not a problem. And it's so funny, people conveniently have forgotten the multiple times on the show when I've called Giselle out on shit.
Yeah,
When I
I say it
triggered
multiple
Giselle.
times. I always say it. Anytime someone comments, I'm like, What about all the time she did? Like, I literally listed. Listen, I'm a Robyn defender, so I have the receipts. I'm like, well, she did it this season, this season, this season, and they're like, oh, okay, well, that's not enough. Apparently, they
Yeah,
want it every
it's
single
so
time.
weird. Like I remember, like one time I was like, okay, I'm gonna entertain this person. Someone like was like, why are you always, why are you Giselle's lapdog? Why are you doing this? I said, give me an example. He didn't give me one example. He's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You just like, oh, yeah,
Well, I mean, you said it. You got to know. I mean, I can't fill in
yeah.
the blanks for you.
It's so weird. I think they just want to see. It's so
They
funny
want
to
to
me.
break you guys up. That's what it is. They don't like.
They
They
want to
like
break us
seeing
up.
subjects like that.
They want to, because Gizelle is such like a, I don't know, pop star or
Yeah,
whatever. Like, they just want the worst for her, and they just, I don't know. It's so weird. But I'm like, okay, if
it's
Giselle is
weird.
stirring the pot, y'all don't have a show. So
Exactly. Exactly. I say that all the time. It's not even just Potomac. They do that with Kenya and Atlanta, and I'm like, well, they're doing their job. Like, if you don't have these core people who are willing to be shady or messy, what are we gonna have?
what are we
Yeah.
watching?
What? This is gonna be boring. We're just gonna be
Let's,
sitting
let's
here
move
talking
on.
about.
Let's move on over to the Discovery Network. I don't know. I mean,
It's gonna
it's
be the
so
three
weird
wick
to
candle
me.
network. We're just gonna be talking about candles all day.
Yeah, I'm like,
Mm.
can we just sit and be entertained? Like, when did every single word have to be like picked apart? Like, just
I
sit
know.
and be entertained.
I mean,
But I would say
people are
like
crazy.
that's not going to change. I'm sorry. I'm not going to not defend my friend
Right.
moving forward because people don't want to see me defend my friend.
Right. I mean, and I'm here for it too. I think that I love the Green Eye Bands together, so it doesn't bother me. Someone else wants to know why doesn't Juan show up for a lot of the events? Is he just working? Is he busy?
Um, he's working. He also so Juan is not a entrepreneur or a businessman. He actually has a boss and a boss and a boss and a boss and a
Right. Right.
boss. And so, this is not a platform that is the that that a lot of educational people or corporate
Yeah.
people
Okay.
look at in a positive light. And so he kind
Yeah.
of wants to keep himself as clean as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. Even with me, like I have a YouTube channel, but I don't want my boss seeing it. Even though
Right.
it's not bad, I still like I want to keep that shit private. So I try
Yeah.
to hide it a little bit. But I mean, I completely understand. I think that makes sense.
He's in an industry, he's in collegiate athletics. Like, it's a very, cut and dry, run by, white
Right.
men
Right.
industry. And so he has to be very careful of what he involves himself with. And
Right.
that's why I was so happy Juan Dixon was not at that reunion.
That was actually one of the questions. They were like, "Well, why didn't she actually want Juan Dixon there?" Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone else wants to know, how do you feel about Candiace? For some reason, everyone has a lot of questions about Candiace. I don't know, but apparently they want to know if you guys are friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Candace is my girl. Like we get along. Like I base my interactions or my friendships with people based on the energy and how we treat one another. Like I'm
Right,
not, oh, because she has a mouth on her. Like that's not going to make me change or feel a certain way. Like we have
right,
energy. We talk, we interact well. I actually think we kind of like have a lot of like similarities in just kind of like our upbringing and stuff like that. And so I'm like we get along really well.
okay,
You know?
good. I'm happy to hear that because she's my other favorite. I have two. It's you and Can, so that actually makes me happy. All right,
And
so
I love how smart she is and how articulate
yes,
she is and how
yeah,
sharp she is. I love it. Like
me
I think
too.
it's amazing. Like I wish I was that articulate. My brain doesn't work that fast, but I love
um,
it.
Yeah, I mean, I like her too, so I'm happy that you guys are on good terms. Someone wants to know if once the season over, are you going to give us a full house tour for your new house?
Um, I'm waiting I'm waiting for my interior decorator to do her thing. And with COVID, a lot of stuff is on order. It's taking a long time. But yeah, we'll get it eventually.
Okay,
We'll get
okay.
it.
So this is a more deeper question, and I really want to get your answer to this because it's something that I go through as well. So someone says, how do you feel about people who take jabs at you for saying that you're black when they feel like you're more lighter than most black women? Like, how do you feel about that? And the reason I think it's important is because I get that too. People, even though people clearly see I'm not fully white, they'll think I'm like Puerto Rican or I'm Hispanic, and if I ever even say I'm black, they're like, I don't know about that. I don't see it for you. And I'm like, well, we come in different shades, right? Like
Right.
I'm mixed. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, why can't I be what I be? So
Yeah.
I want to know what do you think? I know people talk about it a lot, so I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. It was it was very eye opening for me, honestly. Like, season one, that so many people did not know that Black people come in all shades. That
Right,
like they literally don't. If I say I'm Black and they see this light skinned person with green eyes, that they just won't accept that. It was so eye opening to me because where I'm from, or my friends and my family, and all of my family's light skinned for the most part,
right,
and we're all Black. Like I don't
right,
know any different. I can't tell you like, oh, my grandmother is white. I can't say that. I can't say my great
right,
grandmother or my uncle. Like I can't say I have a single white relative. And in my family, although we're all light skinned, we all were submerged in Black culture. You know,
right,
both of my parents went to HBCUs. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, they all went to HBCUs. We're all
right,
part of, Divine Nine sororities and fraternities. And so for people to like not want to accept that, it's just weird to me. I'm like, y'all like
right,
Muslim people, where are you from? Like, I don't get it. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I might be lighter than most Black people, but like, do we not know our history? Like, almost
right,
all Black people have European ancestry in them. And I
right,
don't want to go into like a whole like, history lesson, but I really didn't realize um, that people were so ignorant until
right,
season one, when people just didn't want to. A lot of people didn't want to accept, you know, me saying that I was Black. Um,
right,
but it doesn't like bother me. It is what it is. Like, but I cannot make myself white. I just can't. Like, I can't say like,
right.
oh yes, now I'm Black and I'm white, because that wasn't my experience.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah. I
have a
feel like
white parent. Like, if I had a white parent, if I had a white grandparent, then yeah, that's what it would be. But like, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, also in your defense, I always have to defend you because I come with receipts, right? So I have two cousins. They both have the same parents. It's my aunt's kids, right? And she had two kids with the same man. One of my cousins, he's darker than me. He's black. He's not mixed or anything. He's just black. He's darker than me. But his sister, again, same parents. She's lighter than like both of us. She's like
Mhm.
super super light, green eyes, long black hair, and I mean it's like I really don't think people realize black people really do come in all shades. They don't think that you can be light skinned and be black, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like I literally have people in my family. I'm telling you, she is light, like super super light. But I mean, to me, she still looks black. I mean, she's still. I don't see her as a white person, and she's not. She has two black parents, like you said, two black parents, and I feel
Yeah,
like
I think
people
it's
just think
like important for people to realize it's like, yes, we have white ancestry in us, but
right,
all of the generations preceding us, they weren't accepted into white culture, and so all they
right,
know is Black culture, and that's what they've
right,
passed down to everyone. And although we look a certain way, it's like we don't know anything different. And so, it's just interesting. But I never really fell into that trap of trying to like prove my Blackness. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, I just, I've always been very confident in who I am, and I've been a very like take me or leave me. And if you don't, if you want to leave me, I don't give a fuck. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, that's just like how I felt, that I had to prove myself to fit into anywhere. So I never was like, you know, overdoing it, or
right,
whatever. It's just like, I don't know. It's sad. I just hope people choose to like educate themselves a little bit more.
right,
Um, but it is very weird when it's like people literally want me to like say that I'm white or something. You know?
Yeah, they don't. They want to tell you who you are,
Yeah,
and
like
it's just that doesn't work like that. So
yeah.
okay, all right. I have one last question. It's going to be more so on the funny side. So someone wants to know. They said, when you watch the show back, do you think that Michael Darby has a crush on Juan Dixon?
Yes.
Okay, I think we all think that. So
Yes. Yes. I definitely do. I mean, I heard what I heard.
okay. Okay, good. Thank you for clearing that up because everyone, I think I have like 3 questions asked the same thing from different people. I'm like,
That's so
yes, we,
funny.
we all we all think the
That's
same thing. All
hilarious.
right. Well, first up, thank you for doing this interview. It was so fun. I know it was kind of long. I'm sorry. I just had a lot of questions because
Oh, it's okay. It's our pleasure.
I really, really appreciate it. I'm happy that you're gonna be the first interview on my channel. Like it's really amazing. I swear.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is like making me so happy. So I really
Yeah,
want to thank
awesome.
you. Is there anything you want to say to the fans? Anything you want them to know? Anything you want to tell them about Embellished or Reasonable Shady podcast? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, yes, Reasonably Shady. You can find it on any podcast network. Honestly, if you listen to it, you're like so many people are like, oh, I just feel like I'm chilling and chit chatting with my
Yeah,
girlfriends, and so
I
um,
co-sign that.
and we really don't talk about the show. Like, you know, it's just it's fun, it's pop culture, it's like current event topics, all that type of stuff. So
Okay.
check it out, Embellish. Stay tuned because I am expanding. I have more hat styles coming out soon, and I'm like I said, I'm working on a cute athleisure line. So, you know, but of
Nice.
course, you know, you'll be in touch with that. But I just want to say thank you to everyone. Like I said in the beginning, I appreciate everyone for watching the show, for supporting the show, for growing with us. You know, whether you like me or not, I love you for watching and just being, you know, so passionate about it. But you know, I
Right.
just want to leave you with this. It's entertainment. It's for TV. And so, you know, calling me all types of names and stuff like that's not necessary.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And
Okay.
I just want to say, like, for the people who like write these like long messages, like I instantly like block. Like, so you just wasted your time. Like when I see this with like the word
That's too much. They
bitch,
got too much time on their hands.
yeah,
Too
like
much time.
bitch, and I'm like block. Like, just waste your time. Just don't even do
Exactly.
something
That's
else.
how you gotta do. You gotta block them. All right. So everyone, I will post a link to the Reasonable Shade podcast in the description, and also put the link to her website, Embellish. It's out of stock right now, but it'll be up sometime. So just keep clicking the link every week. It'll come up eventually. Right?
Yeah, sign up for back in stock alerts. You'll get an email when it's
Yes. Stock alert. All right. Well, thank you so much, Robyn. I hope you have a good night. I'm sorry for keeping you so long. I know it's late, but thank you so much. I really, really
okay. I'm glad
appreciate
we
it.
got it done. You know, I'm glad
Yes.
it happened. So
All right.
thank you,
Well,
Alex.
thank you
Good
so much.
luck on your channel.
Oh, thank you.
Hope it continues to grow, and
Oh, thank you.
I hope people enjoy the interview.
They
So
will. Trust me, they will.
yeah,
I think that this will really help open people's eyes to a lot of things because there's a lot of behind the scenes things that people don't know about. So I think that you really cleared some things up. So thank you so
yeah.
much, Robyn.
There's only so much I can say, to be honest. Like we can't
Yeah.
really like I can't tell you every little thing, but
Right. Right.
you know, I mean, I think sometimes it's good to hear our perspective or whatever.
Right.
But
Mhm.
just for anyone, just keep in mind, like you're watching an edited TV show.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob. I hope you have a great night, and we'll be looking for you in the future. We'll be shopping at Embellish, and we will definitely listen to your podcast.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Take care.
All right, guys. So that was it for this interview. It was amazing. Y'all know I love Robyn, so I know you're all probably you can feel my excitement through the screen, right? Yes, I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm a fanboy. I can't help it. But hope you guys learn a few more things about this. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. So I'm happy that she was able to provide some context for a lot of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Hopefully it won't be the last. I already know someone literally commented on my Twitter earlier. They're like, please get an interview with Candiace. Listen, I can't promise anything. Y'all know I love Candiace. Hopefully I can. I don't know. I don't know though. Let's we got Robyn out the way. That was like my biggest one I really want to take care of because y'all know I love Robyn. Who knows what will happen in the future, but just stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview and hopefully there'll be more to come.